Hey, beautiful souls, it's your girl J Aries the Aquarius, and today I'm going to be talking about Miss Brittany Murphy. I did an energetic tap in on her. I know she's no longer with us. Rest in power. Beautiful soul, very inspirational. Ahead of her time, iconic. Um, I basically just realized with my gift at this point that people who feel silenced or feel like they want their story to come through, they're just going to use me as their vessel, and I feel like I'm okay with that. So honestly, I just had to think about Miss Brittany, uh, really, and then I started getting downloads. But at first, when I opened up my notes to start typing the downloads in, I looked at the clock and it was 5:25, and I looked that up because I didn't know that off the top of my head. But it literally means breaking emotional hooks or releasing influence from others. So this is key to her story. So as we go along, you'll understand. So of course I asked, was she an indigo? And they're like, yes, she carried strands 2 and 3. And then I heard mom mental health issues. I got mommy dearest, best friends, super close, a lot of enmeshment. But then I heard we were all we had. Her mom's a covert narcissist, allegedly. And I heard catalyst, that Brittany was a catalyst, in many ways. Big heart. I sensed that she had Lyran and Andromedan signatures within her body template. Eating disorders, I picked up on that, unfortunately, and just identity issues. And I feel like that really had to do with her being basically growing up in the showbiz, being introduced to the showbiz so young. She wanted to go one way and they painted her another. Then I heard Little Girl Lost. I'm a Mess by BB Rexa started playing in my head. And then when I was thinking about it, she had a lot of misleading energy around her. She was heavily influenced, heavily controlled, from her mom and her fiance, allegedly, right? So this is all my psychic opinion and for entertainment purposes only. And everything I say is alleged, right? Anyways, moving forward. Then I heard fiance was a part of a club, allegedly. Heavily targeted individual energetically. So she was a heavily targeted individual, like a lot of us indigos become, or like sensitives or high vibrational beings. We become heavily targeted within the etheric and astral realms. And then I picked up Beta Centauri, and Beta Centauri, they had a lot of wars, really because they were very very pure and innocent, and they loved, and they didn't think, they felt like, oh, we have big hearts, we love, we would never do someone like that, so why would someone do us like that? And unfortunately they were taken over by the reversal draconians and things like that. And I feel like she definitely carried that war signature onto earth with her. Manipulation, and I don't think it's really from Brittany's energy. It was manipulation from the triangulation, really. And I heard they tried to dumb me down a lot. So I don't know what that means. You guys, you know what I'm saying? So just they tried to dumb me down a lot. So whatever that means, right? Whether they tried to play her for she was dumb, they tried to act like she, didn't know what was going on. I don't know. That's what I heard, though. I knew I was going to pass. I heard that too. And then I heard dark, twisted things. I knew I was going to die. And then I looked at the clock and it said 5:35. And I looked that up and it says old karmic contracts are breaking. Okay, so she was vulnerable, smart, ambitious, quick-witted, intensely optimistic. And then I heard the Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Judy Garland. And then I saw Judy Garland. So, and then I picked up Cash Cow. Understanding that her mom had a huge influence over her life is crucial to understand basically the psychology of Brittany Murphy. And then I heard they wanted to silence me. Hooks, I picked up on a lot of hooks, and really between her mom, and obviously she was a public figure, so and again, she was a sensitive, so she's easily heavily targeted, unfortunately. Anxiety, I picked up restlessness in her energy, identity issues from growing up in the showbiz. I heard sucker for love, right side of her head, I feel like right before she passed away, because I started getting this like ping, like this real hard, like rough, just headache, pain on my right side, and I feel like she kind of like, it was like a sudden zap out. I know like she passed away, they said, because of pneumonia, right? Or something like that. But I really do feel like when she went out, she did go out suddenly, but she stayed for a minute. Because I kind of saw a vision of her just kind of like looking at her corpse and then like waiting to see, you know, the other two, you know, her mom and her fiance coming in to see if how they were going to react about it. So, you know, she was mishandled and misled. And I asked, you know, has she reincarnated? And no, I heard no. You know, she's not reincarnated, and she's in the in between. And I heard that she spent a lot of periods of time in sacred healing chambers, which she probably still is, because this was a very detrimental life for her, on a soul level. Obviously, we've seen that, you know what I mean? But, and then I heard like a moth to a flame, and then I just thought of her fiance when they said that. Like, you know, him being the moth, her being the flame. And there was two, and then okay, so yeah, I picked up on like a split identity with her, or just basically meaning like an unhealed inner child, really. Okay, so there was two Brittany's. Before she passed, you know, there was the one that would look away, the one that they robbed and they harnessed her light and captured her. And then there was the one that was, you know, intuitive, you know, she kind of like knew what was going on, but she just didn't know how to break away because she was so empathic and so sensitive and so tied in, right? These hooks, right? And then I picked up, okay, so like she didn't have her dad around, I don't think, earlier in her life, but I picked up a distorted masculine energy from her maternal side. So I feel like it's like she kind of got like a double whammy when it came to men, because I kind of asked, you know, like I was thinking about like Ashton Kutcher and stuff, and then they just kind of like told me basically a distorted masculine energy through the maternal side. So I don't know. Then I picked up, yeah, you know, mom was exaggerative, very manipulative, and you know, really like knew how to get Brittany to give her what she wanted. And I don't think Brittany minded this at all either, because she did love her mom. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes, so if you guys are like, where's she looking at? But I think she really did love her mom, and a part of her life lesson or theme was to break away from certain love dynamics, basically to choose herself, you know what I'm saying? So moving forward, loyal to a fault. And then I closed my eyes, and then I saw the number 7 appear, and it said, and then number 7 is associated with Neptune usually, and like it can mean like, you know, drugs, illusions, no boundaries, and secrecy, which, you know, if you know anything about the Brittany Murphy story, you know that's all included in there, so that made sense to me. And then I heard she was their source. She was their source, and she was extremely fragile, okay? And she was also the star. But I feel like she never really felt that way, though. Like, Brittany Murphy was always the star. She was always bright. I didn't know her, but you know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, what the essence, the soul essence we saw in the movies, even though she could do so many different kind of like acting, like that was Brittany Murphy. Like, she was, you know, that girl. Like, she could really go there. She was very performative, very like, you know, good and artistic, and a genius, really, you know, with her skill. But I feel like she never really believed that she was a star. She was always compared. I mean, she came up in that era of like, you know, Paris Hilton, and like, you know, where like, you know, I don't know. I was a baby then, but it was in the early 2000s, paparazzi they were crucial and stuff like that. But like, I feel like she really never believed she was a star, which is really unfortunate, because Brittany Murphy is the fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just not even trying to be disrespectful, but she really is. She's that girl. Anyways. So, and then I picked up again, like, you know, she lived many lifetimes with this same triangulation of souls, where her light was captured, you know, and where she had just a big heart, and she was pure, and she wanted to live from her true heart song, but she had been captured. You know, this was not the first lifetime that this had happened, and I don't think this is the first lifetime that it has happened with, particularly the souls that were around when she unfortunately exited this earth plane. And then, to close it out, what I finally heard was what it means to fit in, or to be the next trend. So again, like I said, I feel like she just was very insecure, unfortunately, because she was so beautiful and so full of love, so full of life, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like, you know, even the people who have like the brightest smiles and who are the funniest people, they really go through a lot. And I feel like Brittany Murphy really was that. Like, you know, she would keep all her stuff in, you know what I'm saying? Or she would just like, you know, always talk to her mom and stuff like that. And even just that dynamic itself, when I like, it just seemed like it was very like, well, like I don't know what to say. I don't, unfortunately, I just don't feel like she ever felt like she was really appreciated for who she was in this life. You know, obviously the fans I hear right now, like, you know, the fans, obviously I love the fans. The fans always made me feel good. It made me feel cherished. But, you know, there became like a separation, you know what I'm saying, so to speak, when the one fiance got involved, you know. So rest in power to the beautiful Brittany Murphy. Thank you so much, you know, for letting me connect with your energy and tell your story. You know, yeah, may you rest in peace, you know, and, you know, live on. And your heart song, you know, your true essence of joy and just being funny. And again, being that girl, like, you know, you'll always be Brittany Murphy. I'll always remember Brittany Murphy as, you know, who, like, I don't think I'll forget her. You know what I'm saying? So I'll talk to you guys in the next transmission, and peace.